Genesis 1 and verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. You're created in the image of God. What a thought. You were created intentionally, on purpose, by design. You were created in his image. You mirror the reflection of God when you walk with him in the earth. It says, male and female created he them. A father sat across from his teenage son at a diner. The boy was scrolling through his phone, and the dad kept glancing at his watch. They barely spoke to each other. Maybe you've seen this happen. Maybe you've been out to eat and you've watched it unfold. At the end of breakfast, the son says, they're leaving, and the son says, hey, Dad, thanks. That was great. And the dad smiled and nods, but he thinks to himself, looks back in reflection, and he's like, we didn't even talk. We didn't even. And later that night, the dad opened his son's private blog, and the newest post said, best morning ever. And it started, Dad sat with me. I didn't feel alone. Presence doesn't always look like productivity. Sometimes, one of the holiest things we can do is just be there. This is who God is. There. Constant. He's the I am. He was in the beginning. He is in the present. He will be in the future. He's just there. Sometimes it would seem like productivity would be the thing to do. If I can do something for someone, if I can make sure and it means a lot when someone does something for you, right? One came over the other day and dropped off a soda for me. It's a new flavored soda. And I thought, well, this is interesting. It's still sitting in the fridge. But I'm going to have it today, and I'm going to enjoy it. I hope. And it means a lot, you know, someone's thinking about you, right? But last night, we're sitting around fire with a few people, and I thought, you know, this is where it's at. We don't have to do anything. We're just existing. We're just there. There. It's presence. You ever been in a room with someone but not really there? Like you're there but you're not there? There have been, for me, days where I come in to work or I come into church, and in my mind, I'm prepping and I'm busy doing in my mind. And it translates into the action too. But It's like I'm worried somewhere else instead of being in the moment. Moments with my kids when I nodded. Yeah. Dad, can we? Yeah, that's fine. And I'm not really there. I'm there, but I'm not there. Feels like God keeps showing me that when I'm present, they can be present with me. And when I'm present with them, it's a flow. And then they can be present with others. It's a flow. Because it's hard for us to call our kids or our family members or our friends into presence when we're hiding from our own soul. So the goal is to be present with ourselves. To be present with ourselves, to be present. Where really am I? Present with God. It's the greatest gift we can give. So you can't heal, watch this now, what you refuse to feel. Talking about being safe, being present over perfection, safe and sound. It is tough sometimes to feel ourselves. Like to feel. We like to avoid what we feel. We mask it often with anger or hurt. Feelings turn into an attack on someone else. It's our innate human nature, right? But what happens when we're with ourselves? You can't heal what you refuse to feel, and you can't feel if you're never still. Still. And so sometimes the world is so busy and we got to keep up. We gotta keep up, because if we don't keep up, maybe we won't be accepted, or maybe we won't be fill in the blank. We won't feel. But when we're still, it's like we can start working through and processing things that we never would have touched before because we weren't still present. It's not a perfection. There's one scripture that Jesus says, "Be ye perfect as I am perfect." And someone told me once, they said, it is imperative that you're perfect as a Christian. In fact, when you are saved and you're born again, you are perfect. And I thought to myself, surely I'm missing something. Because I walked through this salvation journey at 8 and 12 years old. 8 is when I started it, and 12 is when I feel like I started walking in it. And there have been very, 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 very few times that I have felt I did something perfect. I mean, I'm talking in a scale of 1 to 100, it's like 0.03. And so I had to come back to this, and I remember sitting on my back porch thinking, is it really possible to be perfect? So I'm thinking to myself, and so I go to the scripture, and it's, what be perfect as I am perfect. And it's Jesus. It's the words of Jesus. And I'm like, okay, but what does that word perfect really mean? Because Scripture's, written in Hebrew. The Old Testament's written in Hebrew, and the New Testament's written in Greek. And so, what does that really mean? Now look up what perfect means, and it means complete, whole. In other words, I'm complete in myself because He completes me. I don't have to find it in this or find it in that. I don't have to look for it over here. I don't have to look for it over there. It's not a perfect as in our English language would define perfection, never making a mistake. It's understanding that what He did on the cross completes me. And if I can lean into Him, my mistake is actually a launch pad to make me into who I'm supposed to be. It's a journey. It's a process. The beginning of Psalms 46:10 says it like this. He says, "Be still and know that I am God." And I wonder to myself, if we're not still, do we know? Being still is a tough thing in this current culture. Being still and knowing. Be still and know I am God. See, stillness is presence. And busyness can often be defined as perfection. I got to stay busy to make sure it's perfect. I stay busy to make sure. I got to stay. See, when you slow down long enough to be still, you're not escaping your problem. You're not escaping the situation. You're not escaping what you're going through. You're actually encountering it. You're walking through it. I'm going to walk through this. I'm going to be still enough. And man, why did I do that? Why did I, anyway, right? Why did I, anyway, I got to take care of this. But when we're just still and we slow down, we become aware. Sometimes we don't even get an answer in it. Sometimes we're still trying to figure it out. I'm going to be aware, open. Maybe not with others. Sometimes it's hard to be open and vulnerable with other people. We're talking about it this morning. It's a challenge sometimes. You don't know what they're going to say. You don't know it. In sometimes, a little plug for next week, no judgment zone. Sometimes we're careful to be vulnerable with somebody because there's going to be judgment that's passed. We know it. The minute I open up and I say something, somebody's going to judge me for where I'm at. But right or wrong, this is where I'm at. It's interesting that Jesus will walk with you in that. In it. Being open with you and being open with God, that's presence. That's presence. Busyness often isn't it often isn't that productivity, but usually it's performing for an approval. We're performing to get this result. I'm going to do this so I can get this, which is upside down from what heaven is. If I do this, I get that. Whereas heaven is like, I'm going to do this so you get that. That's what Jesus did. I'm gonna nail myself to a cross. I'm going to be willing to sacrifice myself so you get that freedom, so you can walk in that, so you don't have to try to earn your worth, but your worth is defined by my grace. Man, what a God. Often, we try to hide our perfection, disguise it as purpose. I think about the Pharisees and Sadducees. The Pharisees and Sadducees it seemed like they were always trying to ensure that everyone else was perfect. Always trying to ensure that they're perfect, they don't make mistakes. If they make a mistake, we got to come back and we got to correct that. We got to fix that. That can't happen. Perfection. Always walking through someone else's, it's almost like walking with someone, you're talking to someone and, Let's do it. All right, I'm going to talk to you. Okay. It's almost like this is what's like presence over perfection, right? So I've been thinking lately about being present. And I've been thinking about how perfection looks and what presence looks like. You listen? And sometimes this is what it feels like, right? It's self-protection. She's protecting herself, perhaps, or maybe she's ignoring, or maybe she's just not in the mood, or maybe she's just, now's not the time. But when you think about finally slowing down, taking it patiently, being still, knowing. Because being busy, watch this, being busy, she's enjoying it now, is the enemy of intimacy. With God, with people, and with yourself. We think intimacy, thank you, babe. We think intimacy has to do with a relationship that goes deeper than intimacy is when I open up to you, you open up to me, we see each other, we talk with each other at a level that most people. I was thinking the other day I was talking to somebody and in my mind, I'm 100% fine going into a deep conversation. At all times, at any time, with anyone. I have nothing to hide, right? So I'm talking to this person and I could tell that there was walls up. And I thought, I don't want to go too far. And I don't want to reveal myself to the point where they feel uncomfortable. Some things people, how do I phrase this? Sometimes they mean well. But to be closed off is easier, right? But to be closed off doesn't mean you're present. Where are you? The busyness correlating to intimacy I find that Jesus was so present with the woman at the well. He goes to the woman at the well and he talks to her. He's on assignment. He's always on assignment, right? He goes to the well, he talks to this woman, but he doesn't confront her first. They have a conversation, right? And then he says, hey, I know what you just said, and I also know that he doesn't rush her confession. He walks with her in it, right? I think of the man Zacchaeus when Jesus is walking down the street, and Zacchaeus hears that he's coming, and Jesus stops, and he stops at the tree, and he looks up, and he says, Zacchaeus, come down. I'm going to go to your house. What? Talk about being present. And so he literally stops a parade. He stops a crowd and calls this man by name. With children, he's always pausing ministry to bless the ones that most people ignore. Pause it. He takes time for them. And here's what's crazy is each one of those three encounters happened on the way to something else. He could have kept going and said, well, I got to do this and I got to do that, right? But he doesn't. He stops and he's present, right? Mark chapter 12 and verse 30, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. This is what we walk through. You love the Lord with all your heart, your soul, your mind, and strength. Okay? Let's start at the heart. The heart is the decision center. This isn't an emotion. The heart isn't an emotion. This is your life source. Out of your heart, you walk through. Your very being exists because your heart beats. Heard this called the subconscious mind, where you wake up in the morning and without thinking, you go brush your teeth. Maybe not. Without thinking in the morning, you go to the fridge. Did you think, I'm going to go to the fridge and I'm going to get out a bagel? Right? You go to the car and you buckle your seatbelt right away, and then you turn the car on. And you don't think to yourself, I need to make sure I can put the key. Where's the key go? The key goes here. I need to make sure I put this in the ignition. And if I turn it, the car should start. There it goes. Yep. Okay, and where's the gear shifter's here. I'm going to put it, make sure it goes in reverse. Most of this stuff's done. We're not even thinking about it. This is the subconscious mind. It's been on repeat, so it's in our heart. Because what happens in your mind happens in time. If it goes on over and over and over in your mind, eventually it becomes a part of who you are. It becomes your life source. So the heart is where the decisions are made that aren't decisions. You just normally, And distraction disconnects you from your inner world. So she's scrolling through. She's distracted. It's not that she doesn't love me. It's not that she doesn't care. I'm just thinking about something else, right? It distracts you from your inner world. What's really going on the inside? Where are you on the inside? What's really happening with yourself? When you slow down and you're present with you and you're present with Jesus, where are you? When you slow down and there's nothing else, where are you? Jesus was connected, going alone, connecting with the Father, and coming back to give what he had just received. And so when our hearts learn to rest, our love learns to flow. When our heart learns to rest, our love flows. So keep walking through this. The soul is your inner life. The soul is a part of you that feels, that grieves, experiences hope. You love God with all your soul. It's to bring him into your real self. It's being present. Being present. Because if your love costs you your honesty, it's not love, it's performance. If your love costs you your honesty, it's not real love, it's performance. I'm going to do this to get this result. But love doesn't concern itself with the results. I don't love my kids because they're going to give back to me someday. And they may. And I hope they do. But I love my kids because I love my kids. Love. It doesn't cost me my honesty. It's not performance driven. It's real. It's raw. Spiritual maturity is directly connected to emotional maturity. Show me someone who says they're perfect. I'll show you someone who suffers inside. Inner struggle. Show me someone who's honest about their inner struggle. I'll show you someone who's spiritually mature. And he says, with all your heart, soul, he says, and mind. Your mind is your perception. It's not just your intellect, it's the lens, the filter that you see through. Everything is filtered. Something comes in, I filter it before I see what's really happening. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. And this is where Paul writes of being transformed by the renewing of your mind, renewing your mind. It's letting God change how you see things. So sitting with God gives us opportunity. Being present with God gives us an opportunity to change perspective. It's grace over performance. It's relationship over rule. This is what Jesus taught. The Pharisees and Sadducees, they're concerned about the rules, making sure this one does this and this one does that. And Jesus comes along and he's like, I get it. But the relationship is what I'm after. I want to be connected to you. I want to walk with you. I want to be with you. And the last one, he says, heart, soul, mind, and strength, which is all your capacity. It's your presence in motion. All your strength. You won't love God with all your strength if you're constantly trying to prove your worth. This is your energy. If you're constantly trying to prove what you're worth, that's exhausting. Again, the Pharisees and Sadducees, trying to prove their worthiness, trying to prove this is what I'm worth. Jesus comes along and he says, I don't want you to have to prove, strive for your relationship with me. I want you just to be okay with me being with you. And when you're okay with me being with you, then, Peter, we can walk through this journey. Well, but I denied you 3 times. Yeah, I know, Peter, but you're going to speak on the day of Pentecost and you're going to experience transformation in so many lives because you're delivering the message that I put in you to give. It's a mature self. It integrates when you meditate. David writes, meditate on his word day and night. It's my everything goes to Jesus. Strength. I think so often about where does my time, my energy, where do I put all my resources? Where do I got friends, family members, people around me, they may think I'm crazy because I put my energy and my time and my resources into, I want to be closer with Jesus. I want to walk with Jesus. There's a point that nothing else matters. It's Jesus is my everything. He's my everything. He says to love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus isn't commanding narcissism here. Loving your neighbor as yourself is describing what a proper flow looks like. It's God, you, and others. Loving yourself well isn't a matter of loving yourself to the degree that you're selfish. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is loving yourself to the degree you're selfless. It's not a diminishing of who you are. It's an understanding of who you are. I have this that I can give. I know what I can give my kids. I know the capacity that I have. I can give them a safe environment. I can be present with them. I know my strengths. I can sit and I can listen. We can have family meetings and everything's on the table. There's nothing I won't avoid. Let's talk. And then there's other parts that I'm working through. But if I know this, then I can serve them well. God, me, others. If you hate or ignore yourself, and I know hate's a strong word. If you hate or ignore yourself, the love is distorted through that flow. Because you have God who loves you, and then you're frustrated with yourself, and so what flows into others? The frustration with yourself. It's a journey. Listen, we project what we don't process. We project what we're not willing to walk through ourselves. Being present with our true self allows love to flow and move naturally, not as a duty, as overflow. If we don't receive the love from God, and we don't receive that care from God, and we're not present with that, we're unable to let that flow into somebody else. Wholeness doesn't equal perfection. It's not the same thing. Wholeness is just being complete. It's understanding that flow and walking in it. Perfection says, I can't rest until this is done. I want it. Wholeness says, I can rest because I'm loved. I'm loved. And the goal isn't perfection. The goal is presence. I want to say this. Wholeness isn't about fixing your flaws. And sometimes this is a thing, right? We want to fix. Wholeness isn't about fixing your flaws. It's about facing the truth. What's the truth? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you when it comes time for maybe a political thing and an election cycle? Where are you when it comes time for maybe it's a religious argument or a religious discussion that turns? But it's not about that discussion, though. It's not about the politics, though. But really, if you sit in the stillness, where are you? Not what side are you on. It's where are you? It's what God asked Adam in the garden. I mean, I shouldn't have said that. I should have been more careful with my words. I should have. But where are you? Where are you? Because Jesus didn't come looking for perfect people. He's looking for present people. Who's the people that'll be present with me, that'll walk with me? The ones who will stop pretending long enough to be real with their own selves. Sometimes I see way this way or way that way because they're fed up with pretending. And it's like, I can give some grace for that. Right? Like, I get it. You went so long pretending that now the line has been crossed. You are fed up. Like, this is not who I am. And then you being real with yourself over being perfect with yourself. I'm talking about being present over being perfect. Being present over being